Hi, this is Mark Hager, and you're listening to the 50 Plus Strategist. If you listen to me very often or you read much of what I've written in the past couple of years, you probably have heard me talk about pricing at some point. This is something that continually I see people have problems with. And I'll be honest with you, it really doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter if you sell a product or if you're selling a service, whether that's remodeling or design or interior design or therapy or just coordinating like a concierge. Amount of money that you charge, right, it directly correlates to revenue for you and your income. And a lot of people who are just starting out, or even I won't even say that, people who've been in business for years, I'm telling you right now, a lot of the folks I've worked with that have been in business 10 or 15 years, they still not charge enough because they feel like they can't, or they feel like they shouldn't, or they feel like, and I know this is going to resonate with some of you. They feel like maybe you're not worth that much. Well, here's the truth. You are. You are. If you step back and put what you do in context of the results that you give people. Think about it seriously. And the honest truth is this is something I had a hard time with when I first started out. I really didn't. I didn't value myself enough. And that's really what it boils down to, right? Is you valuing yourself and what you do, and feeling validated, right, that you should earn a certain amount for what you do. But guess what? People pick up on that. I remember the first time I made $200 an hour. It was a glorious day. I still remember it very, very clearly, where I went to lunch with someone and they bought lunch and they paid me $200 to sit there and talk to them about their company. Now, I honestly don't do that like that anymore. I used to do that quite a bit. But I really don't do that anymore because it's really not conducive to the way my ideal customers work, right, or think. The work that I do, and this is true for you too, I'm sure, and you and your customers, the work that I do is I really want to develop a relationship with the people that I work with. And most of my customers will tell you that I'm honestly not the guy that you just call once every 3 months when you want to put together a new flyer or you need some work done on your website. Or I do those things, but that's not what I'm about. I'm about the relationship. I'm about me and my ability to help you continually improve, your serve, right, to the customers that you're working with, or continually improving your bottom line, or whatever it is. Even just you as a person becoming better human, a better person, a better business owner, whatever it is. That's the stuff I love. I do that as well as do some of these other services. So that leads me back to where we started, and that is you being able to get paid what you're worth. So often, and this works this way for everybody, but I'm just going to use occupational therapists as a talking point, right? Because I have several of them as clients. Quite often they come and we're fleshing out, right, their business model, how they're going to do what they're going to do, and how they're going to get paid for that. And probably 85% of the time, they can say, all right, well, this is how much I think I need to make for a consultation, right, or a home assessment or whatever. They can say that. Now, a lot of times they can't, but typically they can pull out a number and it's fairly reasonable. It may not be as high as what I think it is, but I think it should be, but it's fairly reasonable. But the problem is when you start diving deeper into the concept of, okay, well, you can't feed your family if you're just doing assessments, right? Or you can't feed your family if you're just installing a grab bar, right? If you were a handyman or a remodeler, or you're just putting in a ramp, right? You need to have diversity. You need to have some consulting in there. Or you need to have some larger projects, or all of that and more, right? There needs to be diversity. And when you start talking about that diversity, you start talking about these other things, and you start talking about how much they should make an hour, right? What their average should be. People start to balk a little bit. They push back. I've had several clients, and one in particular that, bless her heart, she just a jewel of a person. I just loved working with her. She was super knowledgeable and super nice, but she just really, really wanted to help people. But she had a really hard time coming to terms with how much money she should be making. And quite honestly, her dreams didn't match what she thought she should make every hour. It just, and I think a lot of people are that way. Or maybe I've talked to people before who understood that they needed to, generate $150 an hour, generate $75 an hour, or whatever, right? And they understood how that equated to projects, but they didn't really believe that it was going to be them. They still did work for $30 an hour, or for $20 an hour, or for $12 an hour. And if that's you, if you I know that probably applies to people who are just starting out or who haven't been in business that long. You may think that's true, but it actually applies to people who've been in business for a long time. I've worked with folks who've been in business for 5 or 10 years, and they're still making a fifth of what they could make and struggling. And if that's you, no matter if you're a new business owner or you've been doing it for a long time, I just want you to know that that income is there, right? It's there. You can have it. You just need to step back. And I just want to encourage you to take a few minutes to think about what you do in context of the results that you get for people. Now, if you are working with insurance or you're working with organizations, right, third party payers or whatever, I get that you're only making so much, and I totally understand that. But there are things that you can do to create additional streams of income that can take you from making, that $60 an hour up to $170 an hour, or $120 an hour, or whatever it is that your goal is, right, to help you get to where you want to go, or earn that extra $20,000 on a project, or get projects that are where you're making that kind of money. But it requires a shift. It requires a shift in you thinking about it. And so often, right, that's a fear. It's fear-based. And I'm telling you, if you're going to succeed, you have to get beyond thinking you're not worth the money. If you really believe that you can, and I want you to listen to me very carefully, if you really believe that serving older adults is a good business decision and will get you the revenue that you want, then you're going to have to make that shift. You're going to have to understand that you're providing a service. You're not talking about taking advantage of people. You're talking about going beyond that basic income to getting you and your company to the point of where you are thriving. Because guess what? If your business isn't thriving, if you aren't thriving, if your employees and contractors aren't thriving, you're not going to have the impact that you want to have. It's not just about you being satisfied or your employees being satisfied or your contractors being satisfied. Your level of satisfaction, right? If you don't have those worries that are taken away, to a degree when you're making a good income, if you don't have those, you can put more of yourself into what you're doing. You don't have the worry. You can get out there and put more of yourself into that customer. And by doing that, you're giving them an experience that's going to make them want to talk about it. And when they talk about it, you're going to get more. And it's just a snowball effect. And oftentimes your success is going to start with you rethinking about your place and for the lack of a better phrase, your local network of care, right? Your place in that person's life that you're trying to serve and the results that you get them. And what is that really worth? If you're charging somebody $20,000 to do something, is it worth $30,000? Regardless of what other people are selling it for. Don't even think about that, because you know what? For anybody who's been doing remodeling for a long time, you will vouch for me here. When you have to start thinking about that, when you start undercutting your costs, right? When you're worried about those margins and you're cutting those margins down, right? Just so you can get work. It sucks and it's hard and nobody's happy. Nobody's happy, because even your customers aren't happy because you're not giving them your best. When you should be making a 45 or 50% margin and you're only making 15 or 20, nobody's happy. That needs to change. You take care, if you can serve the market properly, you can make the money that you need to make, even if you're charging double what other people make. I'm telling you, I've seen it happen. It's happened with my own customers. I've watched it in these other companies. You just have to take a step back and begin something different to take you off of the path that you're on and onto the path that you want to be on. And I hope this has encouraged somebody today, because I got to tell you, I'm feeling it. I really believe this was This is for somebody. I believe it. If you need to talk about your mental state with your business, right, where the mental space that you're in, and maybe how you can begin making changes to get you to where you want to go, then I want you to call me, 865-236-1247, or you can email me, mark@markhager.com. I hope you've gotten something out of it, and I look forward to talking to you again. This has been the 50 Plus Strategist. I'm Mark Hager. Be well.